Hello, welcome back, Simona Cochi, The Italian Way. Welcome together, Brett Colbert, president and co-founder of the American Pneuma Art Foundation. Brett and his wife, Olivia, created Pneuma to help young artists move from the classroom to the world stage. The foundation supports them through exhibitions, mentoring, and creative spaces, keeping Renaissance traditions alive while inspiring modern art. Born in Florence, Pneuma now brings together over 100 artists worldwide, building a bridge between classic art and today's vision. Let's welcome Brett Colbert. And I'm absolutely delighted to have Brett Colbert, the president and co-founder of the America Pneuma Art Foundation. Are you in Florence now?
Thank you, Simona. Yes, it's amazing to be here with you. We are in Florence now. We just opened our show 2 days ago. Today will be our third day, and we're really happy with how everything is going so far.
Yeah. So first of all, as soon as I received the press package and I read what was about, and I said, "Wow, this project is amazing." So I have first of all to thank you from Italy, from not only is not only from myself, but from all my country, because to tribute such an incredible projects with very ambitious missions and objectives for us is really, it's a kind of relief in these dark times. And so we appreciate very much your interest in founding and building and headquarters in Florence. So
No,
thank you
yeah,
very
thank you.
much.
And we're always inspired by what Florence has always brought to the world and what Italy's brought to the world, and that's why we're here.
Okay, so let's start by introducing Verso il Paradiso, the path to paradise. So until the 11th of November 2025, housed in Sala d'Arme, uh, you displayed along with Galleria Frilli and with an incredible curator that you are going to introduce because it's important also to highlight the absolutely high contribution that different scholars and institutions gave me to realize this.
That's right. Yeah, so we had the inspiration about a year ago after our first exhibition that we held in Florence in 2024, which was called In the Light of Florence. And during that exhibition, uh, individuals from Galleria Freely, including Clara Marinelli, came to our show and then afterwards invited us back to their gallery. And they're the ones that, when the original Porta del Paradiso of Ghiberti, that is on the Florence Baptistry, when the originals were moved indoors to keep them safe, uh, Galleria Freely was the ones that had the idea to make the replicas, and are the ones that made the replicas that now stand in the baptistry. And since then, they have also made other replicas, including replicas that they have in their gallery. So we met them a year ago. We went to their gallery and saw these incredible replicas of Ghiberti, for the first time at eye level and not, 3 meters up above you where you can't see many of the details. And we thought together with them, this is something that everyone needs to experience. Uh, Understanding and appreciating the panels of Ghiberti, the masterpieces, right there in front of you, where you can walk around and see all of them. And then what better year to do that than in 2025, which is actually 600 years later from when Ghiberti received the commission to do this magnificent work. So we had the idea to do an exhibition with them that displayed all 10 panels and the frames of the doors, but that we wanted to take it a step further and to also invite artists of the world who work in either the styles or the techniques of the old masters or the inspirations, to create works today that are inspired by stories that are timeless from each one of the panels. And so we had 110 submissions when with this call, and then we had a selection panel of 7, including an independent artist who is very well established. And they came up and they decided on 37 finalists who all created pieces that are now on display in Palazzo Vecchio until the 11th, as you mentioned, alongside the panels of Ghiberti that they are inspired by. And we're really super thankful to the Comune of Firenze for allowing us to use the Sala d'Arme, to the Assessore Bettarini, of course, to our partners, the Freely Gallery, and the curatorial team and head curator of Luna Gordon, Andres Escalante, and Nicole and Caterina. So a lot of people to thank for all of this, but it's been an incredible process, and we're very proud.
And there is another person that inspired you in realizing this. Is your wife, Olivia, because it seems it's a kind of legend, a fairy tale. While you were strolling Italy during your vacation after wedding, you've
Yes.
been inspired by, no? And
Yes,
you've been
thank you.
thinking
And yes,
something.
yes, that's our story is very interesting. We both I'm a medical doctor in Miami and also did my PhD in genetics. And my wife did her PhD in biochemistry. We met during our PhDs, and
Wow.
on our first date, we talked about a sculpture by Bernini of Saint Teresa in ecstasy, which is in Rome in Santa Maria della Vittoria. So when we fast forward a few years, when it came time to get married, we decided to go to that church and get married there in that church. And when we did, we were able to do so, and it was a beautiful experience, and so many friends and family. But we met Padre Angelo Campana, who's a Carmelite priest who was running that church, and he had given a room in the convent to a young artist from Iran who had come over to study and learn classical art in Italy. So we met Amir, became quick friends, and started supporting him in little ways until one day he told us, "Oh, I want to get in touch with the American universities in Rome and Florence in Italy, but they don't always answer my emails. Like, what is there anything I should do?" And I said, "Well, let's think of something. Amir, if we made a foundation, what would you call it?" And he said, "I think we should call it the Pneuma Art Foundation, because pneuma is the Greek word for
Yeah.
spirit, soul, breath, and life. And I think that's exactly what we're trying to do in this kind of art, is breathe a new life into it." So I said, "That's great, let's do it." So I made a Gmail account that said at Pneuma Foundation. And that's our website today is thenuma.org. And I started sending emails just from a coffee shop, just me on my computer saying, "Hello, I'm Dr. Brett Colbert, director of the Pneuma Art Foundation. I'd like you to meet Amir, who's our artist in residence in Rome." And of course, at that point, all of the universities responded to him and, took meetings with him and everything. So we said, well, I think we're onto something, that if we can create a collective, a foundation where many artists can be a part, we can have more of a voice for them and help them, especially early in their career, by being the bridge for them between being a student and being a professional, providing opportunities like an exhibition in Palazzo Vecchio, and then eventually with a physical space for them to do their work, all while having 130 members. So it makes the bargaining much easier. And then bringing in more seasoned, more senior artists who can also exhibit alongside them and show them what a career in the arts can look like. So Olivia and I are extremely proud of what we've done, and there's a lot more work to do, but it's a team effort, and we're really happy to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Also, because you created this incredible path. You stay in Miami. Miami is an artistic modern art directly to Florence. So you connect past and present. You represent also technology, medicine. And so it's a kind of full celebration, of arts, because for Leonardo da Vinci, he was an engineer, he was a painter, he was he was a party organizer from time to
Yes.
time. Yeah, so
Hmm.
arts is something that comes from sensitivity, and I think you and your wife had this incredible push thanks to your sensitivity. And I think also the young artist nowadays has different challenges if you compare to the past.
Hmm.
What do you want to highlight these modern times challenges that
Hmm.
you perceive, that you heard from them
Yes. No, thank you
specifically?
for that. Actually, one of the first times we met a large group of artists was when they were having a drawing competition. And there was an hour where they just draw from a model, but they didn't have a model that evening. So Olivia volunteered to be the model, my wife, and then as
Wow.
a payment, the model gets to keep all of the drawings. So now we have drawings of Olivia from every angle, and it was lovely. But while they were doing that, I went and got some pizza for everybody, and we came back and essentially had our first focus group about what is it like to be a young up and coming artist, especially working in a more classical style but trying to make it contemporary. And I think a few topics came out of that conversation that are timeless for artists, that are timeless problems, and a few topics came out that are newer problems. I think some of the timeless problems that all artists will tell you that they have is that they need the time and the space to develop their own voice as an artist, their own style and their own technique. But when you're starting out as a student, you are learning techniques and skills that somebody else is teaching you. So you're learning really somebody else's techniques and voice and artistic expression style. And that's good. That's okay. When with me in medicine, when I start out in medical school in my practice, I'm learning from a book from someone else who's done this before, who knows what they're talking about. And that's how you should start. And so there's so many academies here in Florence and around the world that do an incredible job at giving people the techniques and skills that they need to then go forward in their career. However, once you leave there, in my world in medicine, I have 4 years structured of residency where I get to practice under the supervision of somebody else to perfect what I do. As an artist, you're left out there on your own a lot of the times with very little to guide you and support you during a critical period where you have to create your own body of work and your voice. So now you're trying to pay for a studio while working a job, but then doing your art. And a lot of the times that you can just can't solve that equation very easily. So that's one problem that's kind of timeless for all artists of all time in many ways. And then maybe a problem that's more modern, more recent is I think the world has gotten smaller because you can reach anybody very quickly through the internet, through social media. But at the same time, the voices have gotten louder on all of those platforms. And
Yeah.
so, in order to reach your audience, you think that you have to do everything all the time. But instead, what I think is necessary is to really focus on the audiences and the people who appreciate and know what you do. And slowly, by time, not by trying to just mass market and blast to everybody, but really by forming personal relationships one to another. That's how you can advance some knowledge about what you do and the importance of what you do.
I totally agree with you, because this mass communication has also, you know, uh, mm, gave some issues to the artist. I mean, reputation is one thing, and to be loud is another thing. So the I think one of the challenges nowadays is also to present an artist and his works in order that can be be authoritative, but on the other way also to be funnel in the on the app and on the platforms that are so many. And absolutely. And also, I want to ask you, this is really interesting to hear from you how you envision the revival of Renaissance artistic techniques. And I mean, exactly, you've been inspired by, for instance, techniques chiaroscuro rather than other things that are strictly linked with the Renaissance.
Yeah, and I think there's two points to be made here. The first is that these techniques are timeless for a reason. Back home in the US, when you put an exhibition together of Leonardo's sketchbooks or
Oh,
Caravaggio paintings, people drive for hours. They will travel from city to city just to see that exhibition. And I think there's something the reason is that those techniques, those paintings, that beauty that's been created is timeless and speaks to everybody, right? And that is just fundamental to who we are. So there's a timeless nature to the techniques, and that's why we would like to promote them and keep them alive and help the world know that there are people working today who can still do the kind of things that those masters were doing. But then to the artists, I say it's not enough to simply copy your master and to be for someone to walk up to their painting and say, "Oh yes, I could tell this person was inspired by Rembrandt and Caravaggio." That's really great that you're able to get those techniques mastered. But just as the masters were building on the past and they made innovations, technical innovations that brought their art forward to a new level, so too time has passed and time goes on, and we must challenge ourselves to do the same thing. That it's not enough to simply recreate another Rembrandt today, but use that technique, combine it with everything else you know, and speak your own voice that is today, with today's challenges, today's themes, today's problems, today's stories, and make a classical and timeless technique a contemporary piece of art.
and um, on the press kit, we read that you have also the idea of open up a permanent headquarters in Florence, including an atelier training center, specifically to allow the spirits of Florence that is really inspiring because, there is also uh, another kind of magic, in that city. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so how can you get link to USA and your interest, or can you envision something that will start in Florence and then will contaminate? You never know. Talk big,
Yes,
the
exactly.
word,
No,
we can do it. Art can do that.
yes, I think that is exactly right. And what I found here in Florence is that there is a density of artists and a density of technique. You throw a stone down the street and you'll probably knock over two easels with someone doing plein air painting, you know. And that is the beauty and the magic of Florence, that everyone from around the world, they come here to learn and be inspired by the art that we just have when we walk through the streets here. Uh, and so for us as a foundation, that has been an incredible asset in getting started because the supply of the artists are all here and there's a lot of work to do. But now as we look to forward to expand, we want to make sure that we can bring the art that everyone has come to Florence to do to the rest of the world. So we think that there's a few ways we're trying to go about it, and we're trying to decide on the best option, the ones that are in front of us. And I encourage anyone who has ideas or thoughts on how to collaborate, we would love to talk as well. But we really want to make spaces in Florence where people can work and create their art, and then also spaces elsewhere in the world to help show their art and bring their art to the other people.
Thank you very much, Brett Colbert, the founder of Pneuma Art Foundation, the Path to Paradise until the 11th of November in Florence. You can have more information if you surf il comune di Firenze, and it's plenty all over the media press, so you can have all the informations and my personal thanking, and also from all Italy, thank you to Brett Colbert for this opportunity. And I really hope to meet you in person, you and your wife, Olivia. You deserve really a successful opportunity here in Italy. So thank you very much, and stay with us.
Yeah,
Simona Cochi, The
absolutely.
Italian Way.
Thank thank you, Simona. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.